Hi, this is James Valvis, and I'm going to be reading a poem today. This poem originally appeared in Reverb and was subsequently published in How to Say Goodbye, my full-length poetry collection. Quite fond of this poem. It's one of the earlier poems that I wrote when I began writing again in what was really late 2008, but really the start of 2009 is when I decided that I would write every day. I would write a poem a day and some prose every day. And I ended up writing over 300 poems that year. I don't know how many exactly, but it was well over 300. And I had written some of the best stuff in my life. For a long time, I had kind of languished in obscurity and that kind of thing. But I really hit my stride right around then in 2009. I'd always been pretty decent. I got in some good journals, but for the most part, the better journals had eluded me. And it wasn't really until I came back to writing when I was almost 40 years old that I began to see some real success. This poem is not scanning lines like I've been doing recently. And so if you want to read along with the poem, I'm going to place it down in the comments and you can read along with it that way. But I don't have time to do it today. It takes work to do that. You have to go line by line. You have to make sure that your voice is matching up with those lines. And so sometimes I have time to do it and sometimes I'm up against it. And this is one of those days where I'm just up against it. Plus, it's a long poem, and there are certain space issues within the poem that can't be maintained within the box where you're scrolling lines. So it's just better that way. So again, let me read the poem. It's called "My Melancholic and Abrasive Nature Costs Me." Now, before I start, maybe just one more word about it. This generally happened just the way I say it happened. And the person that I'm talking about is a real person. She really did do what I'm about to relate to you. And so it's there's some horrible people in the world. There really are. And so anyway, "My Melancholic and Abrasive Nature Cost Me" by James Valvis. This is how it goes when surfing the internet. One moment I'm checking out the Met score, and before I know what happened, I'm studying the profiles of women at a site that claims to be a resource for bringing together prison inmates and prospective pen pals. And I think, gee, I'm a writer, right? I like to pen long letters to practice writing and fight off the inevitable bouts of depression. And how many times have I dashed off epic length emails to friends only to get back 2 lines, if that, a month later? A real pen pal would be nice, and looky here, there's this new inmate named Melissa Frazier, with an ad and a picture, and she's model pretty, with long brunette hair. She looks like someone a guy could talk to, and she's a captive audience, in a manner of speaking, and so she'll do her part with the back and forth. She's in for murder, so I'm thinking she must have hit and run some poor slob, peed her pants, and drove off. Maybe, at worst, she popped one in a boyfriend after she found him cheating with her sister. Something like that. So I Google her name and find the trial transcript. Turns out instead, she helped her boyfriend kill a 17-year-old girl. She handed him the coffee mug he used to bash in the girl's skull, and then Melissa, in her own words, heard the victim gurgling and decided to finish her by wrapping a television cord around her neck and strangling her to death. This was done, Melissa told the court, in the name of mercy, since she knew the girl was going to die anyway. Back at the pen pal site, she said she was looking for someone who wasn't judgmental, someone who liked to laugh and joke around and maybe help out with legal fees. I shut down the browser. What else could I do? The way I walk around frowning and complaining all day? Not to mention my bad habit of judging people who strangle teenage girls with television cords. I wasn't a positive person to be her pen pal. This was James Valvis reading his poem, my melancholic and abrasive nature cost me? Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this poem, and hit that little bell so you get the notices for future works like this. And as always, thanks for listening, and God bless.